In today's video, I'm going to be sharing my results from my recent blood test that I got. If you're wondering what it's all about, you probably want to watch the video I made before this one, where I talked about that even though I'm living a pretty healthy lifestyle, I hadn't been feeling my best lately. I was experiencing some brain fog and digestive issues and other things, just not having the same amount of energy. And after not really getting results at my doctor's office, I decided to pursue a different avenue. So if you relate to any of that and you want to hear about my results and what my next steps are going to be, then stay tuned. If you don't know me, my name's Christina Walsh, and I'm passionate about health and fitness. I spent many years yo-yo dieting and finally decided to make a true change in my life after having my daughter because I wanted to be a good role model for her. So I no longer diet. I focus on my mindset, exercise, nutrition, self-care, and sleep, and changing my habits so that I can just live my life and live my lifestyle the way it works for me. In today's video, I'm going to follow up from the previous video that I made where I was waiting for the results of a test that I took, and it had to do with omega-3 and omega-6s. So let's get into it. Actually, with this test, it does look at other levels, but the main level that it's looking at is your balance of omega-6s to omega-3s. And you want that balance essentially to be a 1-to-1 ratio, like that is the absolute best. Even a 3-to-1 ratio isn't bad. But what most tests show is that average person in North America, which is where I live, is about a 21-to-1 ratio, which really isn't great and can cause lots of issues in your body. Now, to my shock, because I'm a health and fitness coach and live a pretty healthy lifestyle, although the problem is we don't always know what's going on internally, because sometimes we can live a pretty healthy lifestyle, but our body processes things different, or, there's an imbalance somewhere and we don't even know it. And then we're not feeling great and we're like, oh, what's going on? Shock was my ratio was 44-to-1, which was worse than half the population of North America. And I couldn't believe it because it probably, eat better, move more than a lot of the people that I know. Now, I do have to say, the one thing, and then I do focus on my clients with, is stress. I think that is an important one. And reducing stress in your life can be really important and have a big impact on your health. So I know that is one thing that I need to take into consideration. I do teach that and I do practice what I preach, but I know, life gets crazy sometimes and it can be very stressful. And I'm working on better ways to manage my stress. Let's talk about, though, this 44-to-1 ratio. Really, you want it to be, like I said, a 1-to-1. And with having such a high elevated level of omega-6, it can cause chronic inflammation. So that means I have inflammation, which makes sense because I also was experiencing some bloating and things like that. And we know that inflammation can lead to different diseases in the body. So it's definitely something that you want to make sure that you get under control. Also when you're out of balance, like your cells can't function normally. So that's why it causes this inflammation in your body. So that was like one of the biggest eye-opening pieces for me, that I realized, wow, like I really need to figure this out and figure out what I need to do to body get back into balance. Level that was looked at, they call it the protection value. And this number looks at like your protection against developing like lifestyle related illnesses and condition based on like your blood fatty acid status. And ironically enough, when I did get labs done at my doctor, one of my cholesterol levels was high, which the doctor found shocking because it hadn't been. And, she said, because you live a healthy lifestyle, I actually don't even eat a lot of meat, so, or like butter, or, like things with fat in them, or things that could cause like high cholesterol, like eggs and things like that. Um, so it was kind of surprising to her. That was like the one thing, actually, the doctor, that stood out. But she said, we won't do anything about it right now since you do live a healthy lifestyle. So that level also showed, that's something I need to get back in balance and figure out with that, because it can cause, different things in your lifestyle and conditions to come up that aren't so great for our health. So that was another shocking thing for me. Okay, now remember, I'm not a doctor or anything like that. I'm just sharing my experience. So I'm explaining this in the best way that I can, and I'm learning as I go. So this is like all new to me. So, if it's a little bit confusing, I'm trying my best to explain it the best way that I can. But I also did have like a deficiency in my omega-3, which is very important to have in your body. And that wasn't too surprising because I am mostly vegetarian. I do eat some, I don't really classify myself as anything because sometimes I will have some chicken here and there. Sometimes I will like have egg whites, but like most of the stuff that I enjoy is not meat and fish. And fish is one of the main places that you get omega-3. So that wasn't too surprising. But because of that low omega-3 level, it also can affect your EPA and DHA levels, which, is part of like having brain wellness. Like when you have deficits in this, it can contribute to not having normal brain development and function. It can cause, you know, memory issues later on in life. It can be one of those things that you want to make sure you get you know under control, because these are important levels to have normal in your body, because it's part of normal brain development and function. So that could explain some of the brain fog that I was having because my levels were deficient there. So that's definitely another surprising thing that I was like, wow, I had no idea the importance of that and the effect, that it can have on you. So also along with my omega-3 levels, being deficient, it talked about your cell membrane fluidity, which pretty much is like we want our cells to function normally. And because of this deficiency, like my cells might not be able to function normally. It also shows like an imbalance between like my carbs, and the way my body like kind of processes carbs. So over time, like I could have a risk factor for like certain diseases and excess body weight, which was like another thing. I'm not ever really trying to lose weight, but I did notice I'd put on just a few pounds again, even though I've been, working out, eating healthy, and doing all the things. So that was like another interesting thing that came up due to that. So, supplement that so that my omega-3 levels are where they need to be. And the last thing, I'm going to try to explain this as much as I can, terms that everyone can understand. There was a level, it's your AA, it's acryodonic acid. I might be saying it incorrectly, but it has something to do with the omega 6s. And although my level was high, this is an omega-6 level that you need, and your body isn't able to make it. So mostly it has to be through your diet. But now, for some reason, my level was higher for this. And it did say, though, that sometimes this can be due to genetics. It's not always necessarily due to the foods, but it can be somewhat due to your diet, somewhat due to genetics. I want to think for some reason maybe it's not due to my diet, because it said sometimes if you're having too much like chicken or turkey or pork or farm raised salmon or things like that, that your level might be higher, but that's like not true for me. So I'm not totally sure why that level is so high, but it is like the starting point for production of hormones involved in like inflammation and other things in your body. It triggers protection to your body from infections after an injury and things like that. So again, like one of the reasons why I might have inflammation in my body is because I have too much of this AA acid, whatever, however we say it. Again, I know this video is probably, I'm trying to explain it the best way that I can because this is all new to me and I'm trying to figure it out myself. But that's, pretty much the information that I have and I'm trying to process through. And my friend's been helping me to process through. So now it's like next steps. So the next steps are I am going to make a couple of changes in my diet. And again, I don't want to go too crazy because I know like I don't want to put too many rules and restrictions around food, because I know that is not great for someone who's has a history of disordered eating. But I also know there's certain things that I need to do to actually be living a healthier life. And then there also are going to be some products that I follow up with that are going to help me to get back into balance. But I don't want this video to be too long. So I just wanted to explain my results today. And in my next video, I'll talk to you about some of the lifestyle changes that I am going to be making and talk you through the products that I am going to be using. So I hope you are following along and finding some of this helpful. If you can relate to any of this, if any of this is making sense to you, then drop a comment below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And if you haven't liked and subscribed to my channel, make sure you do that so you don't miss my next video. And I'll see you in the next one.